Watchers 3, Episode 3, Revelations and Revolt. In the depths of the lunar base, the Rocker sisters found themselves in a waiting area, as per the droid's instructions. It assured them the commander of the base would meet with them shortly, and that the room was equipped with everything they might need during the wait. Once the droid exited, Brittany signaled to Nikki, "Make sure the coast is clear." Nikki, understanding the urgency, replied, "Understood. It's all clear." Ashley turned to Brittany, her voice low. "What did you find?" Brittany wasted no time. She quickly recounted her alarming discovery aboard the ship and the existence of a holographic message from their father. Placing the device on a table before them, she prepared her sisters for what was to come. Nikki kept watch while Ashley sat opposite Brittany, a tension-filled silence enveloping the room. With a prompt from Brittany, the device sprang to life, casting a hologram of their father into the space between them. His image flickered with a spectrum of colors before stabilizing, and he began to speak, his voice carrying a stark warning. "My little Pop Rocks, I thought I would have had time to do this the right way, but we are where we are. If you're listening to this, then it's time for a crash course." His message was concise, urgent. He explained the existence of a race whose son was dying, detailing their survival strategy of converting their planet into a spacecraft powered by its molten core, covered in titanium and hydrogen-3, and a mix of other essential materials to create a form of reactive armor to protect the inner hull, a parasitic planet killer. He revealed the harrowing truth about Earth's role in this cosmic life cycle, a host for exploitation and eventual destruction. The original master race had brought a slave race to harvest Earth's resources. They did not work out for many reasons. They was used solely on the base station to maintain its equipment, the role they've been doing since its launch. For this is not the master's race's original world, but yet a victim, a mirror of Earth's future. The sisters learned that the master race created modern man, using their own DNA, mixing it with Neanderthal, creating a replacement slave race. The sisters learned of a revolt by the enslaved race on the moon base station, leading to the master race's downfall. However, the technology of the ship only responded to the DNA of the original master race. To circumvent this, 3 hybrids were created, beings with mixed DNA of the original master race's leaders, led to believe they're still in charge, a masterful charade, making it so that they are capable of interacting with the technology, always vigilant that the 3 are always kept in the dark about the universe's true nature, and always having another 3 in waiting. You are those 3. That means the other 3 must no longer be alive, and I am in hiding, or dead. Their father's message was a call to action, urging them to use the holographic projector to disable the droid, a puppet of the deceitful legacy they were now entangled with, explaining how the droid contained color-coded chips they need to extract that could not be recreated easily. The projector doubles as a short-range communication jamming device that will prevent anyone being alerted to the droid's deactivation. The Rocker sisters, now aware of the droid's true allegiance and the stark warning from their father, prepared themselves for a confrontation that none of them had anticipated when they first set foot on the ship. The realization that they were to face off against the very entity that had guided them thus far was daunting, yet the determination to protect Earth and unravel the truth of their father's legacy steeled their resolve. Nikki announces, "Here he comes," moving slowly away from the door as if she was pacing as the droid entered the room. Nikki, with her characteristic blend of bravery and impulsiveness, was the first to spring into action. She relied on her agility, attempting to outmaneuver the droid with a series of swift movements reminiscent of the childhood games they used to play in the backyard of their family home. Her approach, however, underestimated the droid's advanced sensors and response mechanisms. It deftly sidestepped her attempts, leaving Nikki to regroup and reconsider their strategy with a mix of frustration and newfound respect for their opponent's capabilities. Ashley yells out in fear, "Nikki!" Brittany, taking a moment to analyze the situation, opted for a more tactical approach. She understood that brute force or speed alone wouldn't suffice. With a nod to Ashley, she initiated a feint, a diversion that aimed to exploit the droid's momentary focus on Nikki. Brittany's attempt was calculated, using her knowledge of the ship's layout to her advantage, trying to corner the droid. Despite her strategic planning, the droid anticipated her movements, its programming evidently designed to counter such tactics. As the droid moves in, Brittany flashes it her legendary smile. The droid, in confusion, stops in its tracks and backs off. Brittany's effort, while unsuccessful, demonstrated their need for a cleverer solution, one that combined their strengths and the element of surprise. It was at this time that two extra arms extended from the droid, electricity sparking from the tips, it moving with purpose towards Nikki. Ashley, who had been observing the droid's responses and analyzing its patterns, saw an opportunity. She recognized that the droid, while advanced, relied on predicting their physical actions. Ashley decided to use this predictability against it. With a calm demeanor that belied her racing thoughts, she feigned a direct attack, only to use a compact mirror from her pocket to reflect a beam of light across the room. The droid, momentarily distracted by the unexpected stimulus, turned towards the source of the reflection. Seizing the moment, Ashley swiftly moved behind the droid, her movements quiet and precise. With the holographic projector in hand and screaming, "Don't mess with my sister," she reached up and placed it directly on the droid's head. The device activated instantly, enveloping the droid in a cascade of light and data streams. Within seconds, the droid's lights dimmed, its body went slack, and it powered down, effectively disabled. As the droid collapsed, the tension in the room evaporated, giving way to a brief, unexpected outburst of laughter from Nikki. "Well, that was one heck of a girly thing to try, Britt," she joked, her humor a release valve for the pressure they'd all felt. Brittany, relieved and somewhat amused by the turn of events, couldn't help but smile. "Never underestimate the element of surprise or the power of a smile," she replied. Ashley, still holding the mirror, added, "or the usefulness of everyday objects in space combat, apparently." Their laughter was a brief respite in the gravity of their situation, a reminder of their resilience and the strength of their bond. After successfully disabling the droid and sharing a moment of levity amid the tension, the Rocker sisters turned their focus to the gravity of their father's message. The revelation that they were entangled in a cosmic cycle of exploitation and destruction, perpetuated by a race using Earth as a mere stepping stone, was a lot to digest. Yet, the urgency in their father's holographic warning propelled them into action. Brittany, Nikki, and Ashley gathered around the now inert droid, contemplating their next steps. Brittany carefully retrieved the color-coded chips the droid carried, a safeguard their father had evidently planned. Among them, the blue chip was highlighted in their father's message as the key to creating additional watches, devices that were more than mere timekeepers, but integral tools for their mission. Ashley, with her keen understanding of technology, took the lead in this task. She located the replicator's left top access port, a slot designed for such specific inputs, and inserted the blue chip. The process was straightforward, yet fascinating, as the replicator hummed to life, its internal mechanisms working to materialize their father's instructions into tangible aids for their journey. Within moments, 2 new watches were produced, their designs sleek and evidently advanced, each programmed to respond to the Rocker sisters' DNA. This act of replication wasn't just about creating devices. It was a symbolic step in arming themselves with the knowledge and tools necessary to confront the challenges ahead. With the watches secured, Brittany reminded her sisters of another crucial aspect of their father's message, the ship as a repository of information. Dad mentioned that for in-depth questions we should consult the ship directly. "It's more than a vessel, it's a depository of everything he knew," she explained, her voice imbued with a mix of awe and determination. The sisters returned to the ship, approached the ship's central interface. a console designed for direct communication with the AI that governed its vast array of functions and knowledge, with their new watches serving as keys to unlock this treasure trove of information. They initiated a dialogue with the ship. Ship, we need access to all information regarding the master race's history, their technology, and the full scope of their plans for Earth, Ashley stated, her voice steady, commanding the respect and urgency the situation demanded. The ship responded, its voice now familiar to the sisters. Access granted. Please specify your queries for detailed information. The ensuing conversation was a deep dive into the complexities of interstellar politics, technological advancements, and the precarious position Earth occupied within a larger cosmic framework. The ship, acting on the instructions encoded by their father, provided insights into the strategies employed by the master race, the origins and outcomes of the slave rebellion, and the potential for Earth's future should their plans come to fruition. This race, once facing extinction on their dying home world, had not merely transformed their planet into a traveling ark of survival, but also a parasitic planet killer that had embarked on a relentless quest to expand their domain across the stars. Their ingenuity in converting their home into a spacecraft was born from a desperate need to survive, but it evolved into a strategy of expansion, turning each conquered world into new bases of operation for further conquests. Each world they touched was enveloped into their ever-growing empire, its resources harvested, its population subjugated or assimilated, and technologies repurposed to fuel the expansion of their interstellar domain. The archives revealed that Earth was not the first, nor would it be the last target. The parasitic race had left a trail of dead worlds in their wake. This cycle of cosmic parasitism had been repeated over centuries, a grim testament to their resolve to survive at any cost. The archives revealed the critical role of hydrogen-3, a resource created through a process that the master race had perfected, extracting it from water, a resource abundant on Earth. This hydrogen-3 served a dual purpose as a type of reactive armor for their planetary ships, shielding them from cosmic debris, and as a fuel source essential for maintaining the molten core that powered the planet killers to their new locations. This revelation underscored Earth's strategic importance, not merely for its life, location, or resources, but for its oceans teeming with the raw materials needed to sustain and expand the master race's empire. The archives painted a vivid picture of the revolt, a crucial event that reshaped the power dynamics on the lunar base. It was the insectoid race, long subjugated under the master race's dominion, that rose in rebellion, leveraging their intimate knowledge of the base's inner workings and vulnerabilities. Their uprising was not just a bid for freedom, but a strategic overthrow of their oppressors. In a decisive and cunning move, the insectoid race managed to defeat the master race, a victory that marked the beginning of a new era for them. However, rather than establishing a regime of liberty and autonomy, they adopted the imperialistic and manipulative tactics of their former masters. The archives revealed a chilling strategy: the replacement of the master race's leaders with hybrid Earthlings, specifically engineered to maintain control over the base. These hybrids, part human and part master race, were selected and placed in positions of apparent power, unaware of the true nature of their roles. They were led to believe they were upholding the legacy of the master race, protecting Earth and its inhabitants from cosmic threats, while, in reality, they were pawns in the insectoid race's scheme to maintain control over what was once their oppressor's stronghold. The term Watchers 3 originated from a foundational principle of the master race's governance, a triad of leaders who held equal power, a structure designed to prevent the concentration of authority in a single individual's hands. This power of three was more than an administrative convenience. It was a deeply held belief that balanced leadership would lead to wiser, more effective decision-making. Each of the three leaders brought distinct perspectives and expertise to the table, ensuring that their collective governance was robust, reflective, and resilient against the corruption or tyranny that might arise from unilateral rule. When the insectoid race overthrew their masters and took control, They recognized the utility of maintaining this triadic structure, not for the purpose of balanced governance, but as a means of control. By installing hybrid Earthlings in these positions, they created a facade of continuity and stability. The hybrids, known as the Watchers 3, were ostensibly the pinnacle of leadership over the human race, a symbolic continuation of the master race's legacy, but in reality, they were puppets, manipulated to serve the insectoid race's interests. Armed with this newfound knowledge, the Rocker sisters knew that their next steps had to be calculated and decisive. The implications of their father's message were clear. They were Earth's first line of defense against a threat that was both ancient and ongoing. We need to expose the truth to the world, Brittany concluded, her resolve echoing in the confined space of the ship. Nikki nodded, her spirit undaunted by the scale of their task. And we'll need allies. We can't do this alone. Ashley began outlining a plan that utilized their strengths, the ship's capabilities, and the element of surprise. We'll start by securing the base. If we can take control here, we'll have a foothold to launch a wider campaign to safeguard Earth. The Rocker sisters, armed with their father's warnings and the newly acquired watches, prepared to face the base commander. Their anticipation was tinged with a mix of resolve and the uncertainty of confronting an entity whose motives were enshrouded in centuries of deceit. The knowledge that they harbored, coupled with the strategic advantage provided by the ship's AI, bolstered their confidence as they made their way to the command center of the lunar base. Provided to them by the ship, the door to the command center slid open with a hiss, revealing the interior of a room that hummed with alien technology. At the center stood the base commander, his presence as shocking as the revelations they had unearthed. The commander was not human. His insectoid appearance, complete with multifaceted eyes and chitinous armor, was a stark departure from any life form the sisters had encountered. Brittany, maintaining her composure, stepped forward. "We need to talk," she began, her voice steady. The commander turned, his antennae twitching. "We know about the master race, the planned fate of Earth, and the rebellion," Brittany continued, laying their cards on the table, leveraging the shock of their knowledge as a means to gain an upper hand in negotiations. The commander's response was a series of clicks and tones, translated into English by the room's communication system. "You are more informed than we anticipated." The Rocker sisters outlined their demands: an immediate stop of all activities aimed at Earth's exploitation, and a collaborative effort to expose and dismantle the cycle of use and destruction perpetuated by the master race. Nikki and Ashley stood by Brittany, presenting a united front, their watches a visible symbol. The commander hesitated, his species' history with the master race, a tale of subjugation and forced compliance, and the destruction of their world as they knew it. Yet the resolve in the sisters' eyes and the strategic disadvantage in his position left him little choice. The room was suddenly breached by security drones, alerted by the ongoing negotiation. The sisters sprang into action, their plan to secure the base accelerating into an impromptu skirmish. The Rocker sisters quickly realized that securing the lunar base was only the first step in a much larger battle. The commander's clicks and pops triggered an automated defense mechanism deeply embedded within the base's protocols. A swarm of drones, previously dormant, now activated and intent on quelling the perceived insurrection. Nikki, leveraging her agility, darted between the drones, drawing their fire and creating openings for her sisters. Ashley, dipping in behind her in mimicry, step for step, dodging blast after blast. Brittany, focused and commanding, engaged directly with the drones that breached their defenses, using a combination of physical prowess and strategic use of the environment to disable them. Her watch, synchronized with the ship's AI, provided real-time tactical advice, turning the tide in their favor. In the midst of the chaos, a moment of humor emerged as one particularly persistent drone cornered Nikki. With a deft maneuver and a well-timed quip about never being able to find a parking spot when you really need one, She managed to repurpose a piece of the base's machinery to trap the drone, eliciting a burst of laughter from Ashley and a proud smirk from Brittany as alarms blared throughout the base and as more drones start to arrive. Nikki and Ashley braced themselves for the impending onslaught. The drones, sleek and lethal in design, emerged from hidden compartments within the base's walls, their sensors locking onto the sisters with unerring precision. "The watches!" Brittany shouted over the din of alarms. "Use them! Dad said they'd sync with the base's systems." Nikki, acting on Brittany's command, tapped her watch, accessing a previously unnoticed interface that connected directly with the base's AI. "I'm going to try and flip the drone's allegiance," she announced, her fingers moving with practiced ease over the holographic display. Ashley, meanwhile, focused on creating a defensive perimeter around them, using her watch to manipulate the base's internal environment. She generated holographic obstructions and barriers, disorienting the drones and disrupting their flight patterns. "I will buy us some time," she called out, her voice a beacon of focus amidst chaos. Brittany took a more direct approach, engaging the drones in physical combat. Her watch enhanced her movements, providing her with data on the drone's tactics and vulnerabilities in real time. With precision and agility honed by their father's training, she moved like a dancer among construction workers, her strikes calculated, disabling and destroying the drones in a single blow. Nikki's efforts at the console began to bear fruit. The AI, recognizing the authorization codes embedded within their watches, hesitated in its assault. One by one, the drones started to falter, their aggressive maneuvers slowing as the base's AI struggled to reconcile the conflicting commands. "It's working!" Nikki exclaimed, relief mingling with triumph. The drones, now visibly confused, ceased their attack, hovering uncertainly as the AI recalibrated its directives. In the aftermath of the drone uprising, the Rocker sisters found themselves at a pivotal moment in their quest. Their successful neutralization of the immediate threat had forced a confrontation with the base commander, who, despite his alien and imposing insectoid form, recognized the strategic disadvantage his forces now faced. The commander, flanked by his remaining loyal drones, stood before the sisters in the heart of the base, the bridge. It was a room pulsating with the life of the station, screens and consoles displaying the vast network of operations that maintained the base and its mission. Here, under the weight of his gaze, Brittany stepped forward, embodying the resolve and leadership that had defined their journey thus far. "We seek no prisoners, no slaves," Brittany declared, her voice echoing in the chamber. "What we demand is the cessation of Earth's exploitation and a truthful disclosure of your intentions." The commander's response was a multifaceted shimmer in his eyes, a silent calculation of options in a situation he had never anticipated, facing a threat not from an external force, but from the very species they had sought to control. A twist of fate, a play on irony, where the slaves become the slave masters just to face the same outcome for the same reasons. Brittany, Nikki, and Ashley stood united, ready to accept the commander's surrender, understanding the weight of his words and the deep history of struggle they implied. Before they could respond, the commander took a step back, his next actions unfolding with a chilling clarity. Instead of bowing in defeat or negotiating terms, the commander turned towards the array of drones still hovering around the perimeter of the bridge. With a final, determined glance at the Rocker sisters, he uttered, "Freedom in death is preferable to life in captivity. Our legacy will not be one of subjugation." Without another word, the commander lunged for the girls. The drones, in an instant, converged on him, their movements swift and lethal. The sisters watched in horror and disbelief as the commander was consumed by the very machines he had commanded, his final act a stark testament to his resolve and the depth of his convictions. It was at this moment the rest of the officers on the bridge made a mad dash toward the sisters, screaming, "Death or victory!" The drones cutting them down quickly and efficiently, covered in bug guts. Ashley mumbling, "Wow, just wow." Nikki stating, "Hard to blame them, after what their race has been through." The Rocker sisters, now in control of the bridge and the base by default, were left to ponder the commander's final act and his warning. His suicide, while a grim resolution to his own story, underscored the complexities of the conflicts they were entangled in. It was a poignant reminder of the stakes at play, not just for Earth, but for all beings caught in the web of interstellar politics and survival. Brittany, her leadership instincts coming to the fore, spoke softly, "Let's honor him and his sacrifice, and we will. We'll use this base not as conquerors, but as protectors. We'll fight, not for domination, but for freedom, for everyone." Nikki nodded in agreement. Their resolve hardened. The commander's death, though tragic, served as a catalyst, galvanizing them to pursue their mission with even greater determination. Ashley reminded them that we have the remaining members of their race on board the base station. We must convince them of that. As they set their sights on the challenges ahead, the sisters knew that the path forward was fraught with danger and moral complexities. Yet they were undaunted, armed with the knowledge of their father, the capabilities of the base, and a newfound sense of purpose. They were ready to navigate the uncertain waters of interstellar diplomacy and conflict. It was at this time alarms pierced the air. The station announced, "Power interruption. Backup power applied to life support, emergency lighting, and communications. All other systems on standby till further notice." Ashley, checking her watch, stated, "This is deliberate. Them insectoids disabled the power manually." Nikki, ever the optimist, grinned. "Let's show them what the Rocker sisters are made of." Brittany interjects, "One thing at a time, sis. One thing at a time." As the chapter drew to a close, the Rocker sisters stood together on the bridge, a silent vow between them to forge a path of justice and liberation in the wake of the commander's final defiant act. They were united more than ever in their mission to protect Earth and challenge the cosmic order that threatened countless worlds. B.N.Rocker.